Cultures all over the world use ostracism or social exclusion as a type of punishment. Whether it's kids in timeout, adults in exile, or prisoners in solitary confinement, separation feels like a punch in the gut. Never underestimate the power behind what motivates us. The need to survive, the need to belong. If you can harness that motivation, you can do just about anything. Just ask Aaron Ralston. If you were motivated to learn today, hopefully you took in 4 theories of motivation.
Yeah, you're motivated. I know you're motivated. Now, I've got stuff that can motivate you here, but we need to talk a little bit about it. First of all, be careful when you hear about these studies. Welcome to the chat, Rick. Check them out on the Fuck You Network, everybody. Before you trust these studies, ask yourself some questions. First of all, make sure you look at the details. For example, they just said that teens that were involved in their community and so and blah, 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 were more, whatever, happy is the way to sum it up. Now, the question is that what made them happy? Because correlation does not equal causation necessarily. Or were teens that were happy simply more likely to go participate in projects that benefited the community? You don't know in a lot of these studies. Now, sometimes they do establish control groups so that you know, let's look at the person's health first. Now let's get them into some sort of community activation, service project. Now let's measure the happiness again. And they control for, diet, season, sex, age, all of those things that can change. Well, sex change isn't that common, but you know what I mean. They can change the outcome of a study, and they account for it. But if they don't account for it, that study means shit. And I see a lot of studies like that. Because I watch some of these TED Talks, and I watch how they try to correlate two things, and half the time, literally, you can look at it and go, that doesn't mean that they're related just because they changed at the same time. Ridiculous. It's a real leap of logic. Some of these arguments you hear that use a very scant example with very few details to come to this major conclusion. Conclusions should scare you anyway. We don't know shit. Everything we have is a guess. Some of them are better than others. Some are more reliable than others. Some have more evidence than others. And some can be pretty well proven, but what if it is like the Matrix? If it is like the Matrix, then none of this shit is real. However, we still got to learn how to get around in our environment and how to make it. That shit we can count on. We just have to figure out how to do it. It's not easy. Rick been going through some crazy stuff here on his show lately. I don't know how much is real, Rick. I'm one of those people, when I came to Spreaker, I thought everybody was being authentic. I've been laughed out of this bitch for that. I don't know. I thought everybody was genuine. And maybe you are genuine. I'm not saying you're not. But some people play roles on this fucking platform, and it throws me. I still, after 40 years of thinking people meant what they said, you don't get used to people playing roles immediately. This is a process. And, I take things pretty literally. I know it's a weakness now on this platform, but it still preserves a certain innocence, too, that I don't know if I'm ready to say goodbye to. So I do. I'm going to trust people, for the most part, to be what they say they're going to be, until they give me a reason not to. If you're just an entertainer and you're playing roles, I would love it if you told me that up front, so I don't have to start doing all the fucking guesswork, Tyrese needs website. No, I haven't seen that yet. We're talking about motivation. We're talking about brains. We're talking about killing your old self. And I told you how to kill your current self, at least the part you want to get rid of, and become this self that you're going to be starting today and into tomorrow. And people change. And you have to accept that people change. That is such a cliche statement, and yet people forget it. You're tied to papers that you wrote in the past. This is what I want to be when I grow up. Then you don't get to it. And you spend the rest of your life going, how can I be the fireman? How can I be the fireman? Which was never one of my goals. But, I'm just using an example. Fuck the fireman. You don't want to be the fireman now, do you? So why are you still worried about having not become a fireman? Let that go. That old person is dead. You're the you are right now, and that's it. You can start fresh. This is your clean slate. Go. It's a total roll, Kevin. Everybody has their own bag on here. Mine is a roll. Always been up front about that. Okay, I didn't say you hadn't. That's cool. Spreaker is my escape from a conservative life. I got you. Okay, my conservative life. Yeah, I got you. Okay, today's topic will not allow for me to discuss this big issue that happened with the police in Texas. One thing I will say is that there is a narrative building, and this most recent story is a new chapter in that narrative. So try to see the whole thing as a book. Start with slavery. And that'll just be like a forward, and then we'll get into the first few chapters, and then you're up to civil rights a few chapters in, 1960s, and now you're up to 2015. And you're up with this new kind of a twist, at least in the exposure of these race events. So look at our country within the context of the whole world. How's the whole world acting regarding race relations? So that you don't misjudge us as being abnormal if we are, in fact, behaving like most of the world is regarding race. And then secondly, look at the turn of the recent changes and see what doesn't fit there. Something's going to look weird to you. Something might look wrong. We may be on the edge of a race war. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Put it into a big book about race history in America. And then you can look at these last few chapters and say, where does it look like we're going? This show is about truth. I just told you that we can't fucking know any truth, really. So what can we do? We can get our best guess. That's about all I have to offer you. Our best guess, and I do it with context. Some people say content is king. I say context is king. But truth can be subjective. I think it can be objective. But for some reason when I say it, how is it that you already know what I'm talking about? If we can't agree on a definition for truth, you know what I'm talking about. You know what's most likely true. Truth, said the Buddha, 3 things cannot be long hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. Thomas Jefferson said honesty is the first chapter in the book of wisdom. I like it. I got my favorite in here. Winston Churchill. He said, the truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it. Ignorance may deride it. But in the end, there it is. In the end, there it is. And you know what I'm talking about. I don't have to paint any picture for you right now. The truth is what's left when you wipe all the bullshit away. And that's what we try to do on this show. Well, there's no we, it's me. It's one dude on this fucking back porch. You see, I don't set up illusions. There's no studio here, okay? There's a microphone that Barco sent me because I couldn't afford one, connected to a mixer that Barco sent me because I couldn't afford one. And it's hooked to a laptop that we had to get on QVC to make payments for. And it's a shitty laptop on a DSL connection. No illusions here. Real shit. I'm the realest motherfucker on Spreaker. Know this, and know what Oscar Wilde said, which was, man is least himself when he talks in his own person. Give him a mask and he will tell you the truth. Is that going to make Rick more reliable as far as giving truth than I? Because I'm not wearing a mask and he is admittedly and chosen to, and not hiding that he likes to wear one. Guy Shea, when he was playing DJ Bad Guy. Barco, being Barco, because he never has the same mask on any 2 days in a row. I don't know who that man is. I have no idea who that man is. He's shown me charity. He's shown me rage. He's shown me anger and intolerance. I don't know. I don't know who he is. There's no way I could psych profile somebody like Barco. Forget about it. And maybe that's his goal, to be a psychological chameleon. I don't know. Any truth is better than indefinite doubt, said Arthur Conan Doyle. There is nothing more deceptive than an obvious fact, said by the same man. And one last thing, if you look for truth, you may find comfort in the end. If you look for comfort, you will not get either comfort or truth, only soft soap and wishful thinking to begin, and in the end, despair. And that was C.S. Lewis. But it's worth saying twice because it is my favorite quote about truth. The truth is incontrovertible. It means it's not up for debate. Malice may attack it. Ignorance may deride it. But in the end, there it is. It just sits there. Like a fat cow that can't graze. I've eaten too many oats. I'm going to sit down. My udders are hanging out. My hooves need to be trimmed. I've got big brown eyes and 16-foot-long eyelashes, and I'm blinking, and I'm looking at you, and I say, "Murr." There's the truth. It can't hide. It's a fat cow that can't graze. It can't hide. That's what truth is, really. It's not always pretty, but it gives us our milk, doesn't it? Yeah, it gives us our goddamn milk. That's why we're going to like the truth. We're going to like the truth, and you're going to like this next clip. As soon as I figure out which one I want to play, there's more truth for you. Why you will fail. You will fail. This is not a possibility. I'm guaranteeing you fail to have a great career. Listen to this shit here.
Thank you. I want to discuss with you this afternoon why you're going to fail to have a great career. I'm an economist, I do dismal. End of the day, it's ready for dismal remarks. I only want to talk to those of you who want a great career. I know some of you have already decided you want a good career. You're going to fail too, because, goodness, you're all cheery about failing. Canadian group, undoubtedly. Those trying to have good careers are going to fail because really good jobs are now disappearing. There are great jobs and great careers, and then there are the high workload, high stress, blood-sucking, soul-destroying kinds of jobs, and practically nothing in between. So the people looking for good jobs are going to fail. I want to talk about those looking for great jobs, great careers, and why you're going to fail. First reason is that no matter how many times people tell you, if you want a great career, you have to pursue your passion, you have to pursue your dreams, you have to pursue the greatest fascination in your life. You hear it again and again, and then you decide not to do it. It doesn't matter how many times you download Stephen Jay's Stanford commencement address, you still look at it and decide not to do it. I'm not quite sure why you decide not to do it. You're too lazy to do it. It's too hard. You're afraid if you look for your passion and don't find it, you'll feel like you're an idiot. So then you make excuses about why you're not going to look for your passion. And they are excuses, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go through a whole long list. Your creativity and thinking of excuses not to do what you really need to do if you want to have a great career. So for example, one of your great excuses is, well, great careers are really and truly, for most people, just a matter of luck. So I'm going to stand around, I'm going to try to be lucky, and if I'm lucky, I'll have a great career. If not, I'll have a good career. But a good career is an impossibility, so that's not going to work. Then your other excuse is, yes, there are special people who pursue their passions, but they are geniuses. They are Stephen Jay. I'm not a genius. When I was 5, I thought I was a genius, but my professors have beaten that idea out of my head long since. And now I know I am completely competent. Now, you see, if this was 1950, being completely competent, that would have given you a great career. But guess what? This is almost 2012, and saying to the world, I am totally, completely competent, is damning yourself with the faintest of praise. And then, of course, another excuse. Well, I would do this, but, well, after all, I'm not weird. Everybody knows that people who pursue their passions are somewhat obsessive, a little strange. Okay, you know, a fine line between madness and genius. I'm not weird. I've read Stephen Jay's biography. Oh, my goodness. I'm not that person. I am nice. I am normal. I'm a nice, normal person. And nice, normal people don't have passion. But I still want a great career. I'm not prepared to pursue my passion, so I know what I'm going to do, because I have a solution. I have a strategy. It's the one Mommy and Daddy told me about. Mommy and Daddy told me that if I worked hard, I'd have a good career. So, if you work hard and have a good career, if you work really, really, really hard, you'll have a great career. Doesn't that, mathematically make sense? Not. But you've managed to talk yourself into that. You know what? Here's a little secret. You want to work? You want to work really, really, really hard? You know what? You'll succeed. The world will give you the opportunity to work really, 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 really hard. But are you so sure that that's going to give you a great career when all the evidence is to the contrary? So let's deal with those of you who are trying to find your passion. You actually understand that you really had better do it. Never mind the excuses. You're trying to find your passion, and you're so happy. You found something you're interested in. I have an interest. You tell me. You say, I have an interest. I say, that's wonderful. And what are you trying to tell me? Well, I have an interest. I say, do you have a passion? I have an interest, you say. Your interest is compared to what? Well, I'm interested in this. And what about the rest of humanity?